Michael Salas, he comes out with all of the best pictures that I've got in my presentation. And wait a minute. And then Bob takes 5 more of them for his. So really, this is over. I mean, wow. Okay. Bob thought I was going to talk about UFOs here. I like to talk about my ship. I never get a chance to talk about my ship models, okay? People see a lot of articles about these ship models. I end up demonstrating the models to Commander Pacific Fleet. And he sees these secret models on these ships because I put them on the cruisers, I put them on destroyers, they're all over the place. First thing he does, he confiscates the entire collection. Okay? For his use. The second thing he does, he has all of the radars removed in case the public would see these. So now I got to rebuild them after the war's over. All right, if you're insisting, okay. I wish I had that myself. We all know about Marie, but I have a different situation. We did 2 things, I did 2 things in the secret think tank at Douglas for 12 and a half years. One was all this concept designing of these different types of space vehicles after the mission had been designed, created. In other words, I was creating all these different type of missions that the Navy, the Space Navy doesn't even exist. The other half of this is where the government formed NASA. And they picked up a lot of people from Germany and paperclip. But remember, we're 7 years before NASA even got created. So we're way ahead of anything that NASA's doing. But we did get a contract for the S-4B stage, which is the top controlling stage for the Apollo. Okay, so now this is the Apollo program. You have to hear what Apollo really was supposed to be. Everybody listening? Wow. Okay, you know the first phase. You go up there, you take your pictures, you pick up the rocks, and you come home, right? All right, that's not it. Second stage, we designed in this secret think tank what would be hundreds of 500-man Navy experimental and operating facilities on all of the planets in the solar system or their moon. Okay? Phase 3, go out into the galaxy to the 12 closest stars, do the same thing with them. Except we found Alpha Centauri, the closest star, actually has 2 stars. So the radiation factor is going to be prohibitive, so we're only going to go to the 11 closest stars. Now, a second part of that third was that we were going to go commercial out in the galaxy and use the Navy to do it. Fourth phase, go out into the full galaxy, plural galaxies. Do both. Okay? United States developing commerce, space commerce, getting with the extraterrestrials, that people that we know out there and work with them. go to here. All right, he's insisting that we go here. Okay. All right, wait a minute. We know who Maria is. All right. The other one, when we were getting started with the Apollo program, we had some 15 different section chiefs in the engineering for the Apollo program. We were the command and the operating part of that Apollo program. So a couple of weeks before we actually started, 3 guys came in and landed over at Las Vegas, and they were there for almost 3 weeks. And then they came over to Santa Monica, and they landed at Santa Monica. 2 girls and 1 guy. Wow. So, yes, one of the girls was my secretary, Jessica. Anybody that's read the book knows all about Jessica, okay? The other girl was then the section chief secretary for propulsion. So now we got systems and propulsion, the 2 top most difficult engineering section chiefs to get the Apollo to work. So the point I want to make to you is that when all of our top engineers are in a meeting with other groups, and we've been there for 3 or 4 hours and we haven't come up with an answer, this blonde that I now have for a secretary taps me on the shoulder. No, she doesn't do that. She tells me telepathically, Billy, why don't you do so-and-so? That was the answer we needed that would go all the way through the program. So don't give me this stuff that these 3 Nordics, they're under contract to us. Come on. Mine looks like she's 17. Unbelievable. Both the girls, okay? They're brilliant. The other guy only comes when the girls get in trouble. So he's not with us all the time. So now we've got these 2 gorgeous girls that are doing the same thing, one for propulsion and one for the systems. You cannot believe the arguments that get fixed because she steps in and said, hey, Billy, why don't you say so-and-so? And it worked. TV operative, spy, had gotten into Germany, and he ran into things that were totally unreal. I mean by that, there were hundreds and hundreds of vehicles in laboratories, in construction, being built in factories, in mountain factories, under the ground, slave labor, that had no wings. They didn't have wings, they didn't have a tail, okay? The weapons that they found were 7 different sizes and classes of weapons that nobody had ever seen before. They were laser weapons, okay? So these operatives this single fellow came back, and instead of going directly to his boss, he went to Washington. He went directly to the Secretary of the Navy, Forrestal. Now, Forrestal then had the problem of how do we handle this? So he decided that they would take every top naval operative, spy, and get them not only in Germany, but in all of the surrounding controlled countries, because this was unbelievable. Okay, what are we really talking about here? This is a situation where the Draco reptilians made an agreement with Hitler, the Third Reich, and the SS. Very interesting what the agreements were. The agreements were they would, well, first of all, they could get rid of the people that Germany didn't like. All of the people that Germany didn't like, take them out, okay? Now, then they would organize and structure major German space navy battle groups using these vehicles all out through the galaxy in conjunction with the Draco Reptilian Space Navy, and do the same thing to all those other planets out there in the galaxy. Now, this isn't the first country that they came to. They've been doing this for 7,000 years, much longer than that. So we're nothing new to the Dracos. But getting every man, woman, and child on this planet to work in underground, in-mountain production facilities for the Draco Reptilians and the now German Space Navy. This is a pretty bad situation. So we're having to get, how do we do this? Okay? This is hard to say. I'm sorry. This is hard to say because you're not going to like it. Who's going to do this? So the Secretary of Navy gets tapped on the shoulder. Okay? He was told that they would have to select a different kind of a person than any Navy officer who had ever been through Annapolis. No Navy officers could head up this massive, most important mission that the Navy has ever had in the 240 years history of the Navy. Wow. A fellow was selected that's not even an American. He's an Australian. Came over here with his family. Went to school here. Got into the second year of high school, quit, and went into the Navy. Wow. Worked his way up. He's now a full commander. All right, what happens next? This situation then takes a different twist. This means that every officer in the United States Navy throughout its history has been given misinformation in the books that they get taught. What's that all about? All right. So we have Annapolis. We've been using Annapolis for 200 years to train Navy officers, right? They read books that the Draco Reptilian extraterrestrials wrote the books. So now every PhD on this planet, science, history, medicine, doesn't make any difference, has been given books which were lying about the truth of that field by the Draco Reptilians. Now this is pretty staggering what we're saying here. Okay? This is no joke. So the Secretary of the Navy selects Admiral Riccobotta, who was just a commander. First thing he did was made him a captain. He was a captain for 2.5 weeks. He made him a 1-star admiral. You won't believe what he did, the first thing he did in this subject. He went to the 6 most important aircraft companies in California, Douglas, Lockheed, Northrop, and even even Caltech and Scripps Medical. Wow, what's that all about? Okay. This ends up that a massive organization has been underway on your planet for the last 6,000 years, and the two gentlemen that talked a little bit before me, okay, they got into some of this, but I'm telling you, the fact that we are taught incorrect information still in our books, in all of the schools. This is being done so that you will not get to the point of knowing who they are and how they're controlling you.